What's up? I'm Dan Fradenburgh, and this is not a chance encounter. I'm joined today with Don Spafford. How you doing today, Don?
Man, I'm doing great.
Awesome, awesome. And you might be wondering, not a chance encounter, what's this all about? Well, that's when I've already had a chance encounter with somebody. And if I think that they got a lot going on, stuff that's really, really useful, I have them on again, go through the same questions, but go into a little bit more detail. Don and I, we've been friends for, I guess, a couple of years now.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's been fantastic. Maybe, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit to the audience?
sure. I'll do that. So yeah, my name is Don Spafford. I live in Idaho Falls, Idaho, Eastern Idaho, for those that don't have any idea where that's at. I currently invest in RV campgrounds, resorts, and marinas across the country as part of Happy Camper Capital. I also do some other side projects with build to rent multifamily, but primarily my main focus that you'll see me talking about is investing in RV campgrounds and resorts. So I enjoy this space, and I sought it out, I guess, sort of on purpose at the time because I was looking for higher cash flows, and I found it here. So that's what I do now.
Excellent, excellent. And that's why I have you here. So, the next thing that I go off of in these interviews is the five distinct motivations, but I do have to put in the reminder first. But wait, check your eight. Dawn, I don't know if you have the uncanny ability to see through the camera and into the audience's device and see if under there they've got that awful, hideous red subscribe button, or if they've already hit it and it's great. Can you? Nah, it's just a dumb joke I like to do. All right, the five distinct motivations for commercial investors. I go through these because it's extremely unlikely that anybody is more than two of these at a time. Sometimes people say they're all five, but really this tells me why somebody's going to go through all of the hassle of another commercial acquisition, because it can take months. There are all kinds of ways for it to go wrong. And so you got to make sure that they're not going to quit. So the five different motivations, real quick. First one is preservation of purchasing power. People who already have a portfolio of assets may use the income from ownership to make ends meet. And when inflation rears its ugly head, they need to make another acquisition because you don't get rid of assets. Yikes. Not if they're cash flowing. But the other time that you'll make an acquisition if you're in this situation is if there's an asset crash and you can buy at a discount. So that's some people's motivations. It's not mine. My big one is trading time directly for wealth. And that's because I come from the e-commerce CRM background. And that's how I actually found my weird way into commercial real estate. But it hit me as I was paying my income taxes. It's like, well, it appears I'm paying more in tax than anybody else. So I should pivot into something where I'm getting rewarded in the form of deployed capital, aka equity. So that's what I'm doing. Some people are just looking to control their schedule more. Some people call it fast tracking retirement. Some people just want to work fewer months per year or fewer weeks per month, something like that. Some people are just plain ambitious. They're looking for that generational wealth to make sure that their great grandchildren never have to hold down a day job. And that's why they're going to hustle into their 90s. Or the last one, some people have picked a sector of society, or maybe it's the animals or the environment, who knows what it is. But the reason why they're making these acquisitions is because they want to make a big splash, and you need a financial backing that's quite big if you're going to pull that off. So, Don, for you, of those five motivations, which of them describe you best?
Um, I honestly I'd say several of them, but probably I'd say of those, the one that at least initially got me started and really motivated to get into real estate is for that last one, helping people who need it. I mean, I was uh, at the time one looking for ways, of course, to help care for my family. I want to make sure I was the not the sole, but I'd say the primary income earner for the family. So if something happened to me, what's going to happen to my family? So I wanted to make sure they were taken care of first. On top of that, it was my mother's needs, my wife's parents' needs, knowing that they needed additional financial help. My mother was very sick, and I was knew that at some point was going to need a lot more health care needs than she could do on her own. So I was seeking to do that. And then it was help my wife's family. And our long-term goals have always been to, being that I have lived in like yourself, Dan, I've lived in a foreign country. I've seen what real poverty looks like. We a long-term goal it would was to do more to go help the people from like where my wife is from and that area of Paraguay and Argentina and areas that people are struggling, and we could do something to help change that by providing jobs or doing something to make a difference in the lives there. So that was really my number one motivation that got me started. And even now, we haven't quite met all of those goals, but we've been able to help what we could with my mom before she passed, and then helping my wife's parents now. And um, it's still for me always is a top priority. I do things to help others. I give my time and my resources, and I want to do more. And so it's kind of like you said, building that wealth to get that point where I can do a lot more is definitely a motivation for me.
That's fantastic, and you're absolutely an inspiration. Like I know that you actually quit your W-2 and you're doing real estate full time just in the last few weeks. So congratulations on that. That's really
Thank you.
really that's really fantastic. But the next segment that I have here, it was not part of your last chance encounter. It's the tolerance for risk assessment. And Don, I'm sure you've gone through enough of those questionnaires that you have to go through when you're involved in a
Yeah,
syndication, ask you everything. And the question about risk that's on those standard questionnaires that the SEC wants everybody to fill in, I don't think it
yeah.
covers risk well enough. They're in pretty, qualitative terms. So that's why I use this one. So if you could, please fill in this blank. There are many popular investment asset classes, but I think blank is too risky. It doesn't have to be real estate. If you want to choose real
Yeah.
estate, actually let's do one up. How about choose one that's not real estate and one that is?
Too risky, I'd say crypto.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I have invested some myself just out of curiosity, but not a lot. Definitely not anything that if I lost it, I'm gonna cry about it. So
Yeah.
it's very, very little, just kind of enough to say, well, at least I got something out of it if it does well. If it does bad, then yeah, oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very risky, I'd say. Um, and then sorry, what was the second part?
And then real estate, I also want to mention with crypto, just for
Yeah,
anybody in the audience, it's a buy low, sell high move, and that's like appreciation only. You're not going to get very far in commercial real estate like that. But
yeah.
what's another investment asset class that you think is too risky that is a form of real estate?
Let me think here.
So
You kind of caught me off guard.
no, 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 that's cool. I can just
But
list them off, right? There's like strip centers for retail, there's office, there's short-term rentals like
yeah,
Airbnbs, long-term vacation,
yeah, yeah. I suppose, man, and I don't want to obviously offend anybody that's in any of those spaces, right? But I think ideologically, probably it's strictly short-term rentals that could be because that is one that is very subject to regulations.
Right.
Something that could be doing well right now. Next month, the city decides, what, we're not going to allow these anymore, and you're gone. Then if that's the only way that property makes money is as a short-term rental, it does not work as long-term rental, then you're pretty much screwed.
Mhm.
So you'll be forced to sell or eat it. I guess. So that I guess would be the thing I would consider maybe too risky in some sense.
I love that answer because especially if you in the audience realize that Don, he's in the glamping RV space, so that's a form of short-term rental, right? And like it's absolutely true. Lots of municipalities these days have Airbnbs in their crosshairs, and so it's a risky play. I definitely agree. So the next section then is specific about real estate. This is dandoesdeals.com one, but since I've already caught you off guard once, I have one other question. You're the first person to get this one, okay? Because this one, it's a little bit of an I gotcha.
All right.
And what it is if you won $100 million, I think that many commercial real estate investors would change their focus. I think a lot of investors would change their focus because most people don't have $100 million sitting around. So if you had $100 million these days, where would you be most likely to put it? Would it be in more RV campgrounds, marinas, stuff like that, or something else? What would happen if you won $100 million and you wanted to deploy it?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and that in this honestly, I'll say it's something I have thought about. Not that I have any chance of winning that because I don't play lotteries or anything, but
Mhm.
just say that that rich king in Africa is real, right? And leaves me a fortune. But I would definitely, obviously, as I always do, take the first 10% of that. I'm going to just donate, give away. That's something I do regularly anyway. The rest of it, I would definitely, I think, divide it between two things. Definitely the campgrounds. I would stick with that because they produce high cash flows. So that would instantly give me, long-term income that I could probably never spend the rest of my life. So I could use that to for sure live off if it still give most of that away every single year and still have enough to live off of and be totally fine. So I would definitely put at least half or more in that. And then the rest I would probably, well, divide between other donations giving away more than 10%, obviously just giving it away, but also in the other things I do with build, rent, multifamily, just to keep that money multiplying over time to, again, give more away later. That's always the end goal, is to give a lot away.
Yep, yep, I love it. I love it. Great answer. So let's go through the Dan Does Deals core competency cube. And again, you can go to dandoesdeals.com. You can download and print out your own copy for free. I don't even ask for your email address, which is a terrible idea if you're a marketer. You should always ask for contact information. But I always go through all six sides in every chance encounter interview. And in these not a chance encounter interviews, I just kind of skim over it a little bit faster. But let's do it real quick. So a repositioner is a person who looks at lots of different properties. They are the underwriters. They're the ones who are figuring out how the business is going to be improved by the changes that they make. And the upside, the spots that they are usually going to look, first one, go to the financiers, who are people who only deal with paper and money. Okay, there are people who are dedicated to that. On an ownership team, you'll have investor relations people, and everybody has some sort of financier hats involved. But the financiers, if they give more advantageous loans, that goes straight to your bottom line as a business. So that's something that the repositioners are always looking for. The next spot that they're going to look for to find upside is going to be the operations team, to stop those Benjamins from going down the toilet. But sometimes, like, it really depends as far as the size of the deals, as far as how much you're really able to do and contribute as a contributor to the operators, because you're going to be basically outsourcing that. But if you can find ways to make the business more efficient, maybe new amenities, things like that, that's the upside. But the repositioner will often force appreciation, as they call it. In other words, they'll make it more expensive by getting a contractor team in there and improving the units so that the next tenants will be happy to pay more than the previous ones. Okay, so the repositioner will have all those people on. But if they're like me, I'm from the internet, which Don knows very well. And the problem with being on the internet is you definitely need a local. You need boots on the ground who can be there in an hour or two, because that's definitely not going to be me. I'd be stuck at the airport. But when the repositioner has the team, has the property, all that kind of stuff figured out, has it under contract, they turn around to the financiers and they say, hey, this property, I want to pick it up. It's worth millions or tens of millions of dollars. And then they say, can you lend me millions or tens of millions of dollars? And the financier is only going to know one other thing, which is, who's your sponsor, KP? So to be eligible for a commercial loan, you need somebody in the fold who already owns a similar asset. And you also need a balance sheet among the ownership team of at least the amount of the loan, plus a certain amount of liquidity. But if you have all those things, you've got a commercial real estate deal. This is specifically designed more for multifamily, so it might be a little bit different from your campgrounds. But John, just for reference, like, I know that your team, it's not a teeny tiny one. It's, you got a few people on there. So what roles do you? Let's talk about your company rather than you specifically, I suppose. Like, which sides of the die does Happy Camper Capital cover?
Yeah, well, I guess several. Also, we do reposition, because even though we are buying RV resorts, campgrounds, and marinas, we do buy them as value add. So it's not just we're buying turnkey, even though they do very well as a turnkey, but we do look for ways to, you said, reposition them, improve the property, make them nicer, increase the rents, increase the status level of the property, and add on more spaces. So we handle that. Obviously, we have the operations side of it, because we manage the campgrounds. We have our own management company that does all that as well. We, I guess, are also the sponsor in the sense that we have the experience. We can sign our own loans up to a certain point. Obviously, if we get something much larger than we can do, then we would need a KP. But we still are on that loan as well for the experience side of it.
Mhm.
We kind of
Yeah.
funny. We are just now as we're growing our team and expanding. We are bringing on an experienced builder in this space. Very well known guy in the industry. He most likely will become a part of our team and working with us exclusively to build some new properties. So I guess we cover the contractor part too, maybe. So we almost cover all of this. The local side, we have, of course, each of our campgrounds has a local on-site manager and staff. So that kind of handles all of those things really. So it's pretty interesting. And of course, the financing side, we our investor relations team, which includes, like I said, pretty much everybody on the team handles part of that. That was my main focus when I came onto the team, and probably still is more or less at this point. But I'm moving more into also the operations things. But yeah, so we cover all those items. We find the property, we raise the capital for it, source the debt, oversee the contractors and things to improve the property, and so it's pretty well run, I guess, rounded operation for everything we do. It's not like you said, it's not multifamily, so it's a bit very different. Probably more hands-on, I'd say. It involves more than just finding a property and sourcing out, a property manager to handle everything for you.
Mhm.
That's not how we work or can work. So yeah, we cover all those things, and that's what makes us be very efficient and profitable in what we do.
I love that answer, and I think it really goes to show the difference between what you're offering compared to like a typical, like financial, like like stockbroker office, that sort of stuff. They're not actually doing anything; they just have access to the stocks or whatever it is that they're offering. Whereas like you guys are actually on the ground floor, and I think that's good thing. That's a good thing for people in the audience to keep their eyes on. It's like, okay, so who is actually taking care of these properties and ensuring our returns? And if it's more integrated, I think you have a better chance of not losing your shirt in general. Not that you would with these guys, but anyway. So that's
Yeah.
that's the different sides of the die. As far as a buy box goes, with I know that with self storage and well, I guess I'll start with the old trope. In real estate they say it's location, location, location. I kind of hate that saying because it doesn't really tell you much. What they really mean by location, location, location is real estate only becomes valuable if there's enough traffic that goes near there. That's what, like, if someplace has a ton of traffic, it's going to be worth a fortune. And it doesn't matter where on earth it is. So location, location, location is what they're talking about. But with even if it's like self storage or anything like that, they're looking at how many people are passing. So as far as you guys go, and your buy box goes, I'm curious about that. Just in case you haven't caught it, really there are three parts to it. First one's geography, so which states, which counties, possibly which neighborhood. Second one's going to be the size. In multifamily, we go by unit count. In mobile home parks and things like that, you usually go by the number of pads. It's very similar. There's some forms of commercial real estate like warehousing that goes off of square footage, but that's how you're going to know the size, is because different teams will take over different size of properties. But the third one is class, which I don't think the area would apply. The class wouldn't really apply as much. The two versions of class: one is the condition of the property, the building, like is it old and beat up or is it up to date, and what are the amenities like? Is it really, really nice? The other one is the other meaning of class is the area, and that has to do with the crime rate in the school districts. And neither of those would come out, but you'd still have like an equivalent in the mobile home park direction. But why don't you take it away and describe your buy box? And the reason why I do buy boxes in these interviews is in case anybody is in the audience who has something that's like an irresistible offer for you, and they should get a hold of you and say, hey, I got exactly what you're looking for. Take her away.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, we're always looking for deals. So if somebody has something, for sure, send it our way. We'll have to look it over. Um, and you're right. So some of those criteria don't quite apply to campgrounds. We're not, within a city, say, close distance to a school or that kind of stuff, that doesn't apply. But yeah, our criteria we look for is somewhat location. We are, still location based. We don't want something in the middle of nowhere that nobody's going to go to, right? So we're looking for properties that are within about a 2-hour drive of a major city. And by major city, I guess that we're talking about a medium-sized and up city. A few 100,000 population at least, basically, not a tiny town of 20 people. So we want to be within about a 2 hour or maximum 3 hour drive of a major city, or preferably several cities around it. And the reason for that is basically, people right now in particular with high gas prices and whatnot, are much more conservative on using gas, and RVs or even trucks pulling fifth wheels, they're going to suck up a lot of gas. So they don't want to take a cross country trip, but they still will want to get out and have fun, go do things outdoors. So most people are willing to drive a couple hours to go do that. So that's the number one criteria, is that location of where it's at, in location to a big city. And then on top of that, for the size, yeah, we look at a minimum has to be at least 100 existing camping sites. That could be a mixture of RV pads and cabins, other glamping options. So those are all a combination of what we look for. The minimum, yeah, that minimum 100 sites. Preferably, if there's room to expand, even better. If we want to build out more and make it bigger, make it nicer. And as far as the class, we'll say, or whatnot, that's somewhat open to interpretation, because we intend to make it nicer anyway, right? So even if it's a non-functioning, closed down campground that's been not used for a long time, that's fine. We can still take it, purchase it, and improve it, make it nice, and put it back on the market under a new name, new management, all those things. But our end goal for most of our sites, we want to take them to that resort level status. So basically, the highest tier in this space for like a Class A type thing, where let's say like celebrities with their $2 million motorhome want to come to, right? That's the properties we want to convert it into, so that everybody wants to come here and enjoy it. That's going to include, of course, a pool, and preferably in most cases a lake or a river, some kind of water feature, for people that can bring their boats or go skiing, play in a water aqua park, and multiple other amenities. In some cases, concert events, movie nights, all kinds of different things that will attract people to come there and just hang out and have fun. That's what we're looking for. We want to provide a great experience for people to enjoy it and want to come back.
That's awesome. I actually saw one RV park here in the Great White North of Canada, where they even had a zoo attached to the RV park. And I'm not
Nice.
convinced you'd really want to get like that. Sounds like a whole new world of troubles taking care of live animals, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a fun one. So that's really, really awesome.
Thank you.
As far as fractions though, like, are you able to say, like, would you prefer to have like another double the size available to expand, or is it like you'd want like an extra third or something like that? So if it's like 100 pads right now, you'd want to be able to up it to about 150, or else you'd be kind of like, we're kind of hitting critical mass, or like, is there a
Um,
fraction you can put on it?
it's I wouldn't say there's like this a minimum or maximum. Just that's a good question, honestly. I don't really have a certain answer, but we have some where we've seen where we've had, like, say, 100 sites, and we were going to add on 30 more. I mean, that's still better. We've had some. We were working on one recently that had existing about 630 sites. We were going to add on another 170. So it all kind of depends on what space is available, and what we can do, and what makes sense to it. We're not just going to overcrowd it and make it just to be I guess call it like a projects of a campground, right? We want it to still be nice, and we leave a lot of extra open space. I mean, you can pretty much probably fit I'd say 12 to 15 campsites per acre, but we'd like to stick to between about 8 to 9 per acre, because we want to have that extra space. People want to have their own private little area, some even premium campsites where they got even extra space. So we like to keep it open and invitable, I guess, for people.
Mhm.
So there's not really, I'd say, again, not a minimum or maximum for that. It's just, well, what will work and what will be most beneficial for the area. And sometimes, again, it's not just adding more campsites; it's adding other amenities. We may only be able to maybe drop in 2 or 3 cabins or the glamping options, but we can also add on, like I said, amphitheater for concerts or something. Build out docks for boating, all kinds of different things that you can do.
I love it. I love it. So my next question has to do with the best people to reach out to you, and I use the die as my example. Me personally, even though I'm always eager to meet anybody on the die. The sponsors and KPs, because I'm from the internet, I'm really going to have great relationships and really trust a few different sponsor KPs just to make sure that I always have my ear to the ground, basically. And with my background in marketing and CRM technology, at least they got the foundation to really make my effort a big difference. Whereas when you're first starting up as a repositioner, you need some grunts who can spend 80 to 120 hours a week finding deals, talking to different people, stuff like that. And that's not me. But Don, I know you usually do 506C deals, which allow you to outright and say, hey, invest with me, but you can only take accredited investors. Are accredited investors the best people to reach out, or like their operators, contractors, like any other people? Like who can you help disproportionately is what I'm trying to spit out.
Yeah, well, we can actually help anybody, honestly. I'd say currently we have 506C,
Mhm.
but we have prior to this, all we ever did was 506B. And so I know at some point we will have some more 506B opportunities. Just currently, at the moment, we don't have any. We do have a 506C fund, but so I'd say everybody can reach out. We at some point, people that are looking to increase their income, get into some 506B deals now to build wealth and become a credit investor, they can definitely do that with us. Yeah, just so of course, the only way you can find out those opportunities is by having access to them. Being on our investor portal, so that way you can be made aware when those opportunities come up.
Mhm.
But as far as, of course, for credit investors, they can be on and get into any deal anyway. So they're welcome to join us as well. We're here to help everybody, even the mega wealthy credit investors still want to get the best returns they can for their money. Especially if you're a person like myself, you want to create more wealth so you can give more away, right? So why not put it to its best use and get the best returns you can get? Not to mention incredible tax depreciation opportunities, oftentimes much higher than you'll see in other asset classes. So everybody's welcome to come and learn and find out what we have to offer.
And I love your niche as well, just because like unlike normal housing, like if you end up having to raise your prices, like they really feel the squeeze in mid and lower class. Whereas if you're catering to an upper class, like you can keep your business sustainable without causing a bunch of harm. But as far as how to reach out to you, on your screen it says happycampercapital.com. You have your email address of don.spafford at happycampercapital.com. As far as I go, I'll ask you some more in a second, but my name is pretty distinct, Dan Fradenburgh, so I'm easy to find. LinkedIn is the best social media platform to reach me because that's where I spend most of my time. This QR code, if you scan it with your phone, that'll take you to the FAQs page of 506BME, which is a compliance platform basically documenting your investor relations for SEC purposes in case you get audited. And it's a pretty neat thing. And I can be your chief compliance officer for as little as $497 a year. Don, as far as you go, like it's a social media outlet, a best way to reach you, or is it through the website and email on there, or is there phone? Like how should people reach out?
All the above. Like you, I'm active on LinkedIn, so you can pretty much find me easily there. There are probably a few other Don Spaffords on there, but you should be able to find me pretty easy. I'm pretty active. Search me on YouTube. I've been on several podcasts, so you can find me there. But yeah, LinkedIn, Facebook, go to our website, like I said, happycampercapital.com. Even then, go to the About Us tab. Look for my name on there, and directly on that, you can schedule a call on my calendar. It's on there. If you want to talk more, or yeah, reach out by email, don.spafford@happycampercapital.com. Any of the above, and I'll be happy to schedule a call and discuss some more details with you.
Awesome, awesome. And this has been a not a chance encounter. I really appreciate you joining me. The only thing I have left is actually for you. It's my normal public service announcement, which is if you've been watching these episodes and you've been experiencing fiery pain in your eyeballs, migraine-like symptoms, something like that, it's probably that awful, gross, it's hideous. That red button, you gotta get, it's free to get rid of the red. The gray one is so much nicer. You just have to click on it and it turns gray, and then all of that it'll stop hurting. And I want you to do it because it means that YouTube might start paying for these videos instead of me. So that'd be great for me. All it really does, as I said, it doesn't cost you anything. It means that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions. You can feel free to ignore those. I just appreciate you spent this time with me. Just like Don, great to see you
Yeah,
again. I really appreciate
we
joining.
always have fun here. Yeah.
Awesome, sweet. Make sure you 506B me. Any syndicators, make sure you 506B me.
Hi.
Oh, hey, yeah, here's my code. You got your QR code scanner? Okay, yeah, oh yeah, just hold it right in the square there. Okay, cool. And now you hit open in browser.
Okay.
Okay. Are you already logged into 506B me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's my video. So now I'm already on your watch list. So when you get back to your hotel, you can find out what my core competencies are and my level of sophistication. Sound good?
Yeah.
I love your hat. Real estate's a scam. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
506B me, everybody.